Hey, welcome to my channel, Crafting with Cami. Today I am scrap lifting my friend Erin over at Crafty Concepts with Erin. I will have the video that I'm going off of linked down in the description box below, but here is a photo of what I'm planning on scrap lifting. This is a double page layout, and as you probably noticed in her layout, she actually brought in some of those arrows from the change of scenery. I still have a ton of the change of scenery left. Here's the arrows that she used in her page. So I may actually use that as well, but I have a lot of other papers in here. So instead of getting out, I actually have everything that she used in that scrapbook page. I could make it exact, but instead of copying exact, I am going to bring in my own papers from my stash. So these are no longer available. They are close to my heart, but look at all of these nature ones and the clouds, and I love it. So we're going to bring this in instead of some of the other Stampin' Up! Papers that she has. Glacier is a coordinating color, so I am actually going to use the light side of Glacier for my background piece. Usually I use white, so this is something a little bit different for me. We're gonna start on some Glacier. I am gonna go around all the edges with my charcoal ink. Charcoal is a coordinating color. It's in this pattern paper here. I did miss some filming, but I just kind of looked at her image and estimated how wide to make these paper strips. I believe she stated how big her photos were in the video, so I can kind of estimate how wide those paper strips were. I don't have any photos yet to go on this layout. We haven't had a whole lot of time to go hiking or anything lately. We've been working on our van, if you've been catching those videos. But I loved her layout, and I really wanted to recreate it. I will just add blank photo mats so I can add my pictures later on. So I cut this out of my Cricut. I created it. I just took a bunch of circles, did a little slicing and cutting, and there we go. I got 3 rings welded together. So if you guys want more tutorials on how I use my Cricut, let me know, but not too complicated there. So I wasn't sure what I was going to use as the circle, so I just used one of my scrap pieces, but I actually may switch this out for a full piece of the arrows because you are going to see through it. So I'll just do that right now. Do it strategically, we can cover that up. So let's go ahead and cut. Here, let's rotate it. That's an ink spot I'm trying to hide. So let's cut it on this side so that that one is lined up perfectly. So we'll cut here. Okay, so then that one will go here. So if we line it up at the 2, I think that's a good center spot or good location. This is pretty fine and I'll need to move it around. I'm just going to use my Barely Art glue. And then we said to line it up at the 2. There we go. Isn't that fun? It's not very often that I put circles on my layout like that, so that's fun. Okay, so then I am actually going to copy Erin's layout pretty closely. I really like what she did with the trees up top, and I happen to have those stamp sets as well. So I think she only used this one actually, which I do have Forever Forest as well, so I could bring some of those in too if I wanted to bring in some standalone dies there. But these actually come with all the pines too, so I may actually just use this one. So this one's the Frosted Forest. So I think I want to bring in mostly the pine trees because that's what's in this paper. So I think I want to bring in this one and the smaller one, and I may even do some charcoal birds she added some birds. So I'm gonna do some charcoal birds, and then we'll see about these ones. I don't have any brown on my layout yet, and this one has like the trunk and the branches, so I would want to do that one in brown. So we'll see if I end up bringing any brown in. I could do some photo mats with brown. We'll just have to see if I end up bringing brown paper in, then I can bring in those die cuts there. And then she even had a little mountain scene up here, and I don't have that stamp set. But you've seen me do this before with the You Can Do Anything stamp set. And there's this mountainside, hillside with that moon or sun and the reflection. So I'm thinking if I mask that off, I could actually make it look somewhat like how she did, and then have my trees going around. So I'm copying a lot from her. So make sure to check out her video to see how she came up with the idea. But yeah, so I'm going to stamp that in some charcoal ink, since that's what I've been inking everything in, and this is charcoal. And then look at how there's hills in here too, so that goes perfectly. And then my little sun, I'm either going to mask off or I'll stamp it in some orange. But again, if I do orange up here, then I'm gonna want orange somewhere else. I still need my title too, which could be in orange. So what I thought would be easiest is masking off my my pine paper and then lining this up to go kind of behind it so that it looks like it's coming out from behind there. So I did mask off my moon, sun, whatever you want that to be. I'm going to bring in my charcoal ink, and I'm just going to get it all over my block apparently. Right, I got it nice and inky, and as you can see, I tested it. I tested it before releasing this mask though, so I'm just going to take this masking off that I made, which is easier said than done. And you do want to make sure that your block is fairly clean. You don't want it to accidentally get on your paper, since we're stamping directly on. Make sure this is lined up, and then I'm going to be getting my head directly over, so don't mind that. Right about there. And now we just hold our breath and hope that it's stamped good. If I really wanted to take precautions, I could have put some foam behind there or flipped my Versamat over, but I didn't do that, so we just hope for the best. Oh, that looks pretty good. You can see a little line where my sun or moon would be. Mine doesn't have nearly the texture that the Stampin' Up! One has, but I can try to link that below. I can try to find that one for you. I don't think I said it, but this is green apple, so I'll be bringing green apple into my trees as well. So I got my trees cut out, and I did the front and back of candy apple, so I have a few different shades, but the background of these are getting lost in my pine here. So what I'm going to do is grab some of my sandpaper and go around the edges of that to reveal that white core. And that'll just help it pop off of there. So I'm actually going to do this away from my layout because it sheds the color everywhere. So I'm just going to sand around my pine pieces for my trees. This would be a great idea too if you're doing a winter layout, and you could sand across the center of it and make it look like snow caps. So cool. I'm ready to start placing these down. So I might do a small one over here and then maybe two on this side, and then I could do a large one and maybe a small one over here, and then maybe do a large one back here. So then I'm kind of mixing some of the standalones along with the ones that have that background, kind of like Erin did. And then these probably look a lot like pine. In the video, they look very close, but they're charcoal. And if you can see here, I strategically placed these two to cover up where that sun was. I'm liking how this is coming together. Layouts come together so fast when you have a sketch that you're bouncing ideas off of, so you don't have to come up with all of the busy work, and it takes the guessing out of it. You already know what your background papers are going to be, where to put your embellishments. I even got my embellishments from her layout, so you can really customize it to make your own, however that seems fit. And I am going to let that hang over a little bit there. This one, I could pop it up on 3D foam, but I think I'm going to try to keep it pretty flat. So I'll just put this one down here and then use my Barely art glue on this piece. And it doesn't take a whole lot. I'm just putting a few dots here and there. If it oozes, this does dry clear, so that's a plus. And that layer's right about there. Now these are Stampin' Up! Dies. They are still available. They'll be linked in the description box. But they go so nicely with this paper. I'm looking for some blocks. I'm going to put those down. I'm going to move over to this side because I do have one more that I might tuck over here. As I had mentioned, I don't have the photos for this layout yet. We do take a lot of hikes though, so there's no doubt that I'll have photos down the road to add to this layout. I just really liked Erin's and I was inspired by it, so here I am recreating it. And I think it's really fun to see somebody's layout and then use the products that you have. I happen to have the same trees as her. The paper, I just used paper from my stash. I did have the same paper as her too, but I decided to do some stash busting and use up the papers that I have in my stash that are a little bit older. So use what I had for paper. And then the circle, I didn't have the same bike tire, nor do I have photos that would go with a bike tire. So this was a good alternative, this ring. And then the mountains, I really liked how her hills looked, her mountains looked. So I used what I had in my stash to recreate that. So I think this is a super fun challenge to take someone's sketch and use your products. If I were to do my photos like Erin did, she did a 3x4, 3x4. I think she had journaling here. And then she did 2 more 3x4s and a 4x6. I do like that. A lot of times when I'm taking nature pictures, hiking pictures, I do have a horizontal. So maybe I'll go like, I don't have the pictures for these, so maybe I'll go like that with my photo mats, and then I could always make this 2 3x4s if I choose to down the road. I think I'll do that. And I'm not going to center these exact because I don't want this one hitting my trees. I want it down. I have these at about 4 1/4. I could go 4 1/2. Maybe I'll do 4 1/2. Okay, so when I print my photos now, I don't have to print them with that white border. I might do a charcoal with this one. I went around the edges with my sandpaper again. I am going to use this Cozy Up card making circle. It looks a lot like the circle I created, but that's a thin cut. And then I'm going to use this Let's Explore Together. Cut this out of my fancy brackets from close to my heart. I used the end of a paper, so that would typically be completed, but we'll go like that. And then this is White Daisy, and I used my corner rounding punch and rounded the corners of that. So that'll layer up on that, and we'll stamp the Let's Explore. I was going to use my pine ink to stamp that title, but I actually think limeade might match this green apple okay. Let's see what this looks like. I can always flip this over and use the other side, or it's just white cardstock, so I can always do it again. Yep. All right, that's stamped nice. Let's hope it's the right color. I don't think once you have everything together, I don't think you'll notice that it's not the exact same tone. So I think that is good. And then we'll just go like that. I like that for my title. Titles don't have to be big and extravagant. I think bringing in another little circle element and then having that down there looks good. Here is the finished layout. I love this layout. Thank you, Erin, for the inspiration. Again, I will have her video linked in the description box, so be sure to go check that one out if you haven't seen it yet. But I copied her pretty closely. I don't know that I mentioned these stickers are from my stash, just from a local craft store. Had them long time. Did a little stash busting, added some new products. These are in the description box below. And now I'm excited to go for a hike and document the photos. I hope this video brought you some inspiration, and until next time, live a life worth scrapping. Bye, guys.